AvaTrade live Q&A webinar. Before we will begin, I would like to make sure that everybody can hear me properly and see the screen over here clearly. Please try and comment in the question section that you can hear me properly. This is the live Q&A webinar. This is the live Q&A webinar. Franklin, you're asking for something that we did yesterday. Yesterday we had the Ultimate Forex webinars for beginners, but today we have the live Q&A webinar. This is more personal to let people ask questions regarding trading on anything or anything else regarding the platform. Yesterday we had the ones for beginners. Okay, so we will begin right now with a quick introduction to what will happen in every part of the webinar. Let's get to the presentation. Okay, so we will begin as always with the common question that we have gathered from along the week. Okay, from previous webinars, along the previous few webinars. Then we will have dynamic questions that you guys feel free to ask along the webinars. I'm gonna stop and say that you can ask, everybody can ask through the webinar, all along the webinar, regardless of the subject that I'm teaching. Okay, you can ask whatever you want to ask, and I will address those questions accordingly. There is no problem. Even if I skipped to another subject, you can still write it down. I can see everything. Okay, in the question section, I can see everything, unless of course you want to ask something personal in the direct message. It's also not a problem, but the live here, the webinar here is to let you ask live. Okay. So the third part will be about links, information, webinar privileges, and the fourth part, I don't know if you remember, a week ago we had analysis a little bit, and then finally, if we have even more time, so open discussion. Before we will begin, we have the disclosure. I'm gonna go in the meantime to check that everything is recorded as it's supposed to be, and then we will begin. Okay, so any capital markets and trading information disclosed in this webinar is provided for informative purposes only, should not be constructed or applied as an investment advice, recommendation, or a suggestion. So I will be right back, and then we will begin. All right, so it seems that we have some questions already, which is very nice. Okay. Okay, so we are gonna put down, we have space for 5 dynamic questions, but the questions that we have here is also, it's already questions that we have received. Okay, Mohammed, you're asking about the senior account manager. I have a question here written already. Okay, so some of the questions already addressed to the same subject that I will explain, which I will explain about anyway, so there is no point for me putting it down here in the dynamic questions. But if there will be questions in a different subject, so obviously I can put it there as well. There is a question here. What is the difference between arbitrage and hedging? Okay, gonna put this one down by City Noor. Okay. Okay. Arbitrage is a bit more complex to explain at the point that we are at right now. I don't want to waste too much time on it, but I'm gonna put here in here to begin with. I'm gonna put it in black. Okay, maybe on a nutshell. Maybe on a nutshell. I will explain about it later. All right. There is Brainard. You're asking GBP CHF status. I don't know what it means. If you can elaborate, that would be good. Any more questions at this point? It's the best amount to begin with. Okay, this is also Do we have this question here? No, we don't. So I'm going to take this question. Okay, I'm just going to change a little bit so it will make right. Max, you're asking what's the best deposit to begin with. I'm going to change it to amount. No, we can keep it actually. We can keep it this way. Okay, we're going to put this down. Okay. All right, so we will begin with the questions that we have already, the common questions from previous webinars, as I've explained in the beginning of the webinar. Okay, what's the best way to analyze the market? This is one of the most common questions that we get. Okay, what's the best way to analyze the market? So we have two kinds of analysis. We have fundamental and technical analysis. All right, what's the best way to analyze? So I will begin with a quick explanation of how analysis can work and which stages and what you can begin with, and then we can go vertically as we go. Basically, let's just pick an asset that might be interesting for you guys. What about gold? I think yesterday I've been asked to show a little more about gold. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's suppose now we want to analyze gold. We've already scheduled the amount that we would like to make and the time that we would like to make, and now we want to analyze whether gold is gonna go up and down and to what prices, etc. So there are a few things I'm gonna begin with. Fukong, you're asking how do you start as a total beginner and how much to invest. But this is also as the question that I've received from Max. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put your question here, but I'm gonna take this part out because it's written here. This is the same as what Max has asked. Okay, this is the same. So I'm just gonna slice this off. How do you start as a total beginner? Okay, because it's almost the same question. Okay, so we have few things to begin with. We have when analyzing, perhaps we should jot down. Right, so we have tech. Just a second. Another question here. What is the best app for AvaTrade to download for registration and payments? Sorry for my question. First of all, Victoria, this is the purpose for this webinar. You should not be sorry for your question. You should ask it with pride, with confidence. I just wanted to double sure I can download as a new beginner, and I see there, of course. So look, I'm gonna paste this is not so much of a question I'm gonna put down, okay, because this is more of a tech request, how to register and make a payment. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell you that in here at this part in a few, maybe in 10-15 minutes, we have the links here. So one of the links I'm gonna share with you now is actually for your convenience. I'm gonna paste it right here as an answer, and hopefully everybody can see. This is the link for the login and deposit, and this is the link for the Will it change? Oh, it's not gonna let me do it. Never mind. If you can hold on dear, maybe 10-15 minutes, I can paste everything on the chat. Otherwise, I can send it to you as an answer. Okay, but at this point, let's carry on. All right. So as I was explaining, as a total beginner, okay, I don't know how to analyze the market. This is natural. And I know that I have fundamental and technical analysis. So technical analysis will be as if, okay, technical analysis. So I have support and resistance, right? And then the second thing, what is support and resistance? Just to be clear on that side. Support and resistance are edge points on the charts. This is resistance as if I'm looking at the roof, and this is support as if I'm looking at the floor, right? If this would be a room, this whole thing would be a big room. We have some levels. It's not just one support and resistance. It's levels of support and resistance. So I'm gonna put out few lines. Then I hope it makes sense. I'm gonna explain about all of those things in a brief. Okay. Okay. Now let's do a quick exercise to make sure everybody understand. I'm gonna paint all of the resistance with green, and all of this. No, this will. I'm afraid that this will confuse. So resistance will be black, and support will be white. Okay. This is support and resistance. Okay. Now if I'm analyzing the chart here, okay, this is also resistance. Why doesn't it let me choose? Okay. Now, okay, this is a bit. This time frame is a bit big, but I hope if it's not understood, you're more than welcome to stop me and ask. As you can see here, 1735 is a high point that I've brought. You can see gold here when it's got to this level. When it got to this level, you can see here that this is the highest point between this and that segment, right? This is the highest point that it's been for a while on 12th of September. This is a resistance. How come it's a resistance? This is the highest point. You can see there is no point in this time frame between the 30th of August till now that it got this high. This is the only time. Okay, only before, we had before, but at this point, this is the only time that it got in this high, 1735. And okay, now 1688, this is right here. This is also the resistance. You can see here that this point again, this is the only time between 21st of September to this point that it got in this high. Okay, in this week. But it also stands here to show us that this is a support. This is a previous support line. Okay. There is a request here to send you the recap. I do not send anything personal regarding the webinar, but you can enjoy the recorded version in our YouTube channel by yourself in your own time to see it as many times as you want. But okay. But at this point, what we're doing is we are answering questions that it's common. Okay, common question from previous webinars. Now, 1688 is also a resistance and also a support. How so? Because this is the lowest point for this segment. Later on, this is the only time I compare. If I compare this day and that day, this is the only time that it got in this low, right? It tried to get lower than that, but this is the only time that it got in this low. I'm speaking about this candle over here. Yeah, this candle over here. Now, if I compare those levels, I understand that support becomes resistance, and resistance becomes support. So if I want to begin with support and resistance, I need to analyze the time that is relevant for me. I have a question as a beginner. What is the best indicators to follow entry point apart support and resistance? I'm getting to it, Amal. I'm getting to it. I'm gonna put your question here, even though it's kind of related to what I'm explaining, but still it's not. I'm sorry that I'm deleting some parts. I just wanted to. Okay. Okay, so we have support and resistance to begin with. So for instance, if I believe that this is a buy, I know that this is my next resistance, right? I know 1668 is what it's been yesterday, and this is another line of resistance that I should address, right? 1688 is, like I said, this is the next line. This also could be, but again, it's too small because we have a higher point than that. So support and resistance is one. Second is levels. Levels. What exactly are levels? For instance, I'm looking at the chart right now, and I don't worry, I'm not gonna put the whole list now of technical analysis. This is just a few things. So levels, for instance, I'm planning to get to 88. I want to know statistically how long will it take it to 1688. Let's suppose I want to trade now. I wonder how long will it take it to go. So I compare the time and I find out that 21st of September was a week ago. Okay, statistically, how long will it take it to get there? Perhaps another week. Now we're looking at days, perhaps another week. Let's see. Okay, you see less time that it's been there, and then I can compare it to the price that I'm aiming for. If, for instance, I'm planning to get to this price over here, right? I want it to go up. I think that this is a buy. So I can expect maybe 2 weeks movement, for instance, right? I don't think it's going to happen in an hour. Why? Because the last time that it's been there, it could happen. I might be wrong. It could happen in a minute. But I'm saying statistically, okay, according to the levels that we have, averages, levels, and averages, this is what we get. We also have an indicator to assist us estimate this thing, which is called ATR. It's called ATR for average movement. True, sorry. Right, ATR. Can put here an indicator called ATR. Sorry, this is range. Right, and I click save, and it applies with what is the average movement for a day. Okay, so this is technical analysis on a nutshell. Again, on a nutshell. Fundamental analysis, this is one. Fundamental analysis is something else. What is fundamental analysis? For instance, the gold is now it's going down. Okay, I'm gonna go to the news and I will find out that that US has increased the interest rate, right? US dollar getting stronger, right? How is that has any effect on gold? How the USD has an impact on gold? Can anybody explain to me this logic? How is that even possible that gold is a metal? And we have learned that those things, when the market fluctuates, it fluctuates according to supply and demand, right? Is that true? Supply and demand. So, for instance, if I'm looking at the gold, you have to agree with me that USD has no impact about supply and demand. Gold is still, people are still using gold the same way they've done before. But gold being a safe haven, what is a safe haven? Safe haven is an asset that is defined then as an asset that when people don't know what to trade, they're trading this asset. For instance, gold. For instance, another metal. For instance, Bitcoin is an example, right? Crypto, how crypto became so high. If everybody remember crypto a decade ago, wasn't so high, right? Bitcoin, what was Bitcoin? But because of COVID, if I can, I hope that I can show it to you. No, this is still considerably high to the levels that I'm referring to. Oh, okay. Maybe you can see. You see, Bitcoin started its way being 3,000. How did it get to those levels? 60,000, 70,000? Are people really using Bitcoin as much as we think? Maybe. Okay. But sometimes fundamental has an impact. Sometimes rumors and online does its thing, and then it makes the market fluctuate. Okay, it's not necessarily about supply and demand. I assure you that we don't produce less product with gold. Okay, we don't produce less. Just the way things are. People are trading gold, not necessarily production. It's not like oil, as an example. There are a few comments here. Gold Charlie gonna go even lower. Nobody knows that, Michael. Nobody can guarantee. Eric, dollar goes up, then gold goes down. Okay. Again, this is not a formula. This is just to understand how the principle works. Okay. Some things are not supply and demand. Oil is supply and demand. If we need more production, we need more barrels of oil. Obviously, the world need more barrels of oil, so the price can increase or decrease accordingly. Okay, but not gold. Gold is a safe haven. Okay, so this is a way to analyze the market. The question was, what's the best way? Technical and fundamental analysis combined. Okay, how much money do I need to open a position? This is super simple. We're gonna do it briefly and carry on to your questions, guys. All right, so 1 ounce, 1 lot of gold. How much money do I need to open 1 lot of gold? All right, I'm gonna put this 1 lot, 100 units. Naturally, the value is, oh, sorry. All right, so if I'm looking at the price for gold is now 1649. Multiply 100 units. Don't need to be a genius to know. This is approximately 165,000. 160. Maybe we can round it up for you guys to make it easier. Sure, let's do it. All right, so 160,000, 165,000, this is the value. What is the true budget that I need to open this position? How much money do I really need? How much money do I really need, guys? Since this platform is CFD, we have built in leverage, right? And that means that my balance is gonna behave as if it's worth more. So my 10,000 for gold, I can acquire more units with the same balance. So it works the other way around. If I divide the value by the leverage, I will get the margin impact. Okay? Obviously it's already written, but since I'm teaching, it's imperative to it might be good to know. So I go to I see the leverage. Leverage is 1 to 200. Okay. So what happens if I divide 165,000 by 200? What will I get? Let's do it together. So the real amount I need to open this position will be, okay, it's already written, but I wanted to show how to get to that for people who are not using this particular format. Okay, how much do I need, for instance, for corn to open 10 units of corn? So value, we said price, right? So the value here is 6,000, right? And then I divide it by the leverage. What is the leverage here? Leverage is, let's see, 33. Okay. If I divide 33, okay, if I divide it by 33, let's see how much is that. Okay, all right, all right. This is 33.3. This is why it came out a bit different. But if it would be the amount that we have written here, it's exact, right? All right, so this is the amount that is needed. That is needed to open the position, right? Okay, without leverage, I would need 6,000. With leverage, I only need 200. Okay. So I'm going to write down, divide the value of the position by the leverage equals money needed or margin impact, which are the same. Should I follow another traders? Okay, so to follow another trader, there's a question here, just a second. All right, so Jack, this is more or less what it's written here. Okay, this is maybe you're asking something else. I'm just gonna change your question a little bit, okay? Because your question is a bit too long for me to put here. I'm just change it a little more, okay? Okay, I hope it makes sense. Your question is a bit too long. Okay. I mean, I understood why you wrote it, but okay. So, this question, should I follow another trader? This question is also one of the most common questions that we get. We have an app called AvaSocial. You can find many other traders there that people has tendency to follow and copy, and that's completely okay. To follow other trader or to trade in a group, you have some advantages and some disadvantages. Okay, to follow or trade with a group, you have upside and downside. The good things are company. Okay, you get more people to trade with. Obviously, you get to see other people trying things that you could have had. Okay, and you also get second opinion, right? You have second opinion, right, for something that you want to do, and somebody maybe know a bit more than you, and you can also assist somebody else, right? You can also enjoy and you can also help somebody else, right? If you're more experienced, so the same way somebody is assisting you, you can assist somebody else. The downsides, okay, those are few upsides. Can somebody think of more advantages trading with other traders? Okay, to encourage to trade, this is also true. This is also true, but maybe you know what? Maybe I can write down here. Okay, this is the same as. All right. So the downside trading with a group is that obviously if your group has done something that didn't succeed, so obviously if you doing the same thing, you help to build more confidence. This is also true. Okay, this is also true. Okay, because you're part of a group, and obviously when you succeed together. But the downsides is that if, for instance, the group isn't trading, so you, if the group isn't trading, so you need to also learn to trade on your own, right? If the group isn't trading, so you need to learn how to trade by yourself, not to rely on other individuals, right? A mentor, a group, somebody you're following, you can enjoy, but don't rely. And another downside, like we said, if the group has took a move that is now losing, so if you rely on others, you won't learn. This is absolutely right. This is Amalio, right? This is why I'm saying use the group to enhance yourself and not to depend on the group. As a beginner, it's also advisable to learn to be individual, and then the group is in addition. It's not your primary. It's not that you're not trading without the group. The group is helpful, but it's helpful when you need it, when you want it. Okay, so the question here, should I follow another trader? It's not a bad thing to follow somebody, but also develop yourself to a point that you feel confident with yourself, that you're secure with your own confidence. Okay, to make decisions, risk money management, analysis, everything we're teaching here. To read about the market, to read about the money management, everything. Okay. So, should I follow? No reason why not. But also develop yourself. So I'm going to put down possible, but no need to rely. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Where do I get an account manager? This is became one of the most common questions that we've get daily. Daily. An account manager is becoming more and more popular for other traders. Know this, guys. An account manager is an individual who's been in the market for a long time, and he's seeing accounts all day. It's as if you were in the group without being in the group. So if you have an account manager assigned on your file, that means that you have an individual that knows what we are teaching in the webinars regarding risk money management, regarding how much to a budget to work with, a plan to work with, analysis. Okay, so the way to get an account manager is you just need to make a deposit between 500 to 1,000 as far as I'm concerned, unless the company has changed it. And then all you have to do is go to here to the live chat. Okay, it's as easy as it gets here to chat with us, and then to simply ask yourself an account manager. Hi, I would like to be assigned with an account manager. I've made a deposit. Please assign me with an account manager. Usually it takes up to 72 hours. Okay, it could happen in an hour, it could happen in a few hours, or maybe a day or two, but eventually you should be assigned with a senior account manager. So I'm gonna write down, go to the live chat, ask for senior account manager assignment. Okay. If you can get the senior account manager, it's better. Obviously, they're more veteran. How can I take out my profits? This is again, this is the as simple as it gets. I'm just gonna click here on the 3 lines. I'm just gonna click here withdrawal. And the next thing that's gonna pop is the withdrawal screen. And I'm comfortably able to choose. Okay. As you can see, guys, this is super simple. I get to choose wire transfer, the amount that I'm choosing. Okay. And I'm gonna fill in my details, obviously, that I need to withdraw with, or maybe if it's a skrill. Okay, so the same thing. Yeah. All right. So this is regarding the withdrawal. Okay. How do I take my profits? Just click withdrawal. There is no there is no simpler way to show it. Maybe a log in to the website and click withdrawal. All right. How do you know if the account manager is trading against you? That is not a valid. That is not a. Maybe I don't know, Frederick. If you want to elaborate this question, go ahead. I don't know. You wrote, how do you know if the account manager is trading against you? The account manager is responsible on your file. What he's basically doing is making sure you're not missing anything and to assist you on its best way for you to make profits. There is no point for him to trade against you. If you lose, you go somewhere else and you trade somewhere else where you can get decent help. There is no point for that to happen. There is no logic for that to happen. Okay, maybe you meant something else. I don't know. Feel free to to write down. Okay, so we have a question. We are done with the common questions. If you have anything related to that, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'm going to skip to the questions that you guys have asked. What is an arbitrage and the difference with hedging? Okay, so I'm not sure I have enough time to explain about the difference between arbitrage and hedging, but I'm just going to say that I'm going to give an example about hedging. Okay, as an example. Okay, maybe I'm just going to put buying and selling at the same time. Okay, multiple positions. So for instance, I have a position with, what did we have open? Gold. Let's say I have a position with crude oil. Okay. Now, how do I hedge from here? How do I hedge from here? This is a buy. For the short run, this is a buy. You have to agree with me, those candles are indeed green. But the general agenda is that. Yeah? So we have a downtrend and we have an uptrend. Now, let's suppose I have a buy for this price. Let's suppose I bought it now. 18.2 is something I have bought at the moment. I have a position with oil 82, right? Now, I believe that oil is heading down. So let's put it down. Crude oil, okay. Let's suppose that as it goes down, I now took a sell. Right, with 0.1, right, 100 barrels. Now, I have 100 barrels that it's going up. So for instance, as 100 barrels going up, every dollar if it keeps going up, I'm gonna lose $100, right? Okay, but since I see that it's going up, I decide to take a buy with my sell. I took a sell, 82. Price now is 82. Okay. And now it went to 83. I'm losing $100. Now, I can choose to close the position. I can choose to close it now, as I am realize I've done a mistake, or I can keep it open. This is a sell position. This is a sell position. Now, at the same time that I'm with a sell, I'm gonna take a buy. Why? Because as you can see, it's rising. Now, with my sell, I believe that it could get to 90 before it turns around. So until this point, I'm losing $800. How so? 100 multiply $8. Okay, it gets to 90. I'm losing $800. Now I can close the position. At this point, I can close the position. Let's make it physical for people to see. Okay, I'm losing almost $800. Now I can close the position. Because nobody likes to lose. I can close the position, Or because I see that it's going up, I take a buy. At the same time, I take a buy. Take a buy. 0.1, 100 barrels. Okay, price is 82. 100 barrels. Multiply that. Now, when I'm gonna do this, my margin will be occupied, and I have two positions remained open. Okay. Now, I am hedging my sell with a buy. I did not close the position. I have two of them opened. Now, when I'm hedging, if I believe that it will turn around on 90, okay, and it does, and it turns around, why, when the market comes close to my stop loss, I get stopped out in the trade? I'm gonna put your question down, but there is no guarantee that I will give you an answer. That depends on the time. Okay. Now, as I was explaining, so I took a sell and I took a buy. Now, what will happen is I can decide if it truly goes up. I can decide if I truly want to close it, right? Or I want to keep it open. But if I keep both of them open, that means that I have hedged. I don't have to keep it, by the way, all the way to 90. I can close it before. If, for instance, it gets to here, and I'm with a buy and I'm with a sell, and I want to close it on 86, I can close my buy on 86. Okay, this is as far as I can go with my explanation. There is no more time for me to waste on hedging or arbitrage at this point. I'm sorry for whoever asked this question. What is the best deposit to begin with? Okay, there is no certain amount for me to recommend. There is no generic amount for me to say 100 or 1,000 or okay, that depends on how much you're planning to make on your trades. For instance, if my goal is, this is why I'm going to put depend on your ambitions. Okay, example, goal high, balance needs to be high, right? If my goal is $100, I can trade with a small amount. If my goal is to make $1,000 a week, or maybe $2,000 a week, that's $8,000 a month. I can't expect it to make it with 100. It might be possible, but it will be more complicated than making it with a larger amount. Okay, so there is no golden number for that. That depends on your plan. How do I start as a total beginner? I'm so sorry, whoever asked this question. This needs to be elaborated. I cannot provide, unfortunately, with all the goodwill, there is no way for me to answer this question. Why does the market come to close to my stop loss? Okay, this will be explained. Let's see if I have time to. Okay. Okay, whoever asked this, Royland, you're asking, the reason is the spread. Okay. When I'm taking a sell, I get this price. Okay. That means that I don't get the higher price, I get the lower price. You see two prices. We have two prices here. Okay. That means that we have 82.27 and 82.30, right? Now, when I sell, and my stop loss is, let's suppose my stop loss is 80, okay? it's not truly 80. It's 80 minus spread. That means that I need to reach to get to the stop loss. I'm already ahead of the price that I'm seeing on my buy. I'm already minus 0.03. So that can be triggered while the market fluctuates. That can be triggered with with the spread. So that means at this point that I need to be careful with the spread and the C2 prices with the sell and with the buy. And when I'm buying, I'm always buying it with a lower price. And when I'm selling, I'm always when I'm buying, I'm buying it from the higher price. And when I'm selling, I'm always selling from the lower price. Okay? Now, this is why it's bid and ask, right? This is the bid, this is the ask. So somebody wants to sell for 82.28, but I'm buying for less. Okay? All right. So this is could be the spread or slippage. Okay. It's the best indicator following. We don't have time for that at the moment. What is the best indicator to follow for entry point, the parts of resistance? We've already I don't have time, unfortunately, to answer this. Fokong, you should see the webinars. The best way to start as a beginner is to make a deposit and to see the webinars as much as possible. See as many webinars as possible. If you have specific questions, particular questions you would like to ask you during the webinar, feel free to do that. Okay, but how to begin, I just don't have any practical way to answer. Okay. For instance, who asked this question? I don't know, but let me give you an example. How can I get more education? All right. You can click here on the 3 lines, and you can go here to Trading Central. And in Trading Central, you have a few things. You have economic calendar, you have Forex featured ideas, you have analyze view, you have market buzz. If I'll click analyze analysis view, so what will I get? I will get some angles regarding the AUDJPY, Euro NZD, right? USD Turkish. I can find many things, and from that I can evolve. Okay. As a beginner, the first thing I would recommend you to do is to make a deposit and get an account manager as soon as possible, because an account manager can line up your numbers and goals and can make it into a plan. Can becomes your ideas becomes physical. You can do you're just more practical. Okay, rather than just dynamically explore this universe called trading. Right, what are the best? Unfortunately, I can't answer this question. I don't have time. But what I've promised in the beginning, I've promised that we will we'll paste it in the chat. This is the dear lady who asked in the beginning. I hope, can you guys just confirm that you can see the links that I'm pasting in the chat? I want to make sure that everybody has those links. I don't want you to search for too long. I've pasted some links in the chat section. Okay, and what I'm gonna give you now is the code for the session one-on-one. When you get an account manager, okay, you can get the premium market review with an account manager, with the senior account manager. Now this is a Q&A benefit. This is the code, okay, that you need to give. This is the code. When you made a deposit and you're asking for a senior account manager, you might as well give them the code. okay, or to the account manager itself, and you can say, I've been in Danny's live Q&A webinar. I'm eligible for a premium market review Q&A benefit. This is the code, and hopefully you'll get assigned with a senior account manager soon, and you can enjoy this market review. Now, typically, at this point, we're supposed to have an open discussion, but we've been busy answering important question coming from clients. I'm very proud of you, by the way. Those questions are showing progress, okay? Whoever came here and learned at least one thing from me, so that was the purpose of this whole webinar, is to let you enjoy and ask questions. If there anything else, there is. Let's see if we have time to answer the question that we couldn't. What is the best indicators? So basically, for entry points, okay. I don't remember who asked this question, but the best way to find entry points. This is something personal, perhaps from my own trading style. Not everybody can do it, but whoever can, this might be a gift. I only have time to show it once, so if you caught it, amazing. If you were not able to, all right. So for instance, I want to get into a trade with platinum. Okay, this is again my own personal. I don't recommend it as a financial advice, as I said in the disclosure in the beginning. Okay, so for me, the way that I pick an entry is I don't enter at this point. You see 862. I don't judge this movement right now. I never enter when my first few seconds on the chart. I always like to look at the smaller time frame, let's say 4 hours or even 1 hour. I'm gonna get myself a tea, okay, or a coffee, and I'm just gonna enjoy the chart as it's moving. I'm gonna let the chart flow. I'm gonna see exactly what is happening in the next few minutes. And with me waiting, let's suppose I think it's going down. Okay, now I want to enter. I'm not sure. I don't know if to enter or not. I'm gonna give it a few minutes always to move by itself. And while it's moving, I'm gonna see whether my prediction was precise, and then I feel confident enough to go ahead and take the trade. Obviously, I have many more prior things, but this is the most uh, uh, foundations to begin with. And then after I've observed the market for, let's say, 10, 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, not seconds, minutes, sitting and enjoying the market. After I'm done enjoying the market, I'm done enjoying the chart, I don't have to look at the screen, but I can do other things. After 10 minutes, if my prediction was truly, let's suppose I thought it's going to go down to $5, if it was true, then I feel confident enough to take the step. If I thought it will go down and it only gets high, so obviously I can rethink about what I'm gonna do. Guys, this is enough for today. It's been a pleasure to host you this webinar. I hope everybody has enjoyed this webinar. It's been a pleasure. I hope you'll make a lot of money and make a lot of profits with your trading. So go ahead, activate the account and join us for more. Have a beautiful day and good week.